here from Fun Hands-On Learning. Today I wanted to show you the activities I have for the Alphabet Unit Week 6 of the Hands-On to Learn Preschool Curriculum. This week focuses on the letters M and N. Even if you don't own this curriculum, hopefully these activities will give you some good ideas of what you can do with your preschooler as you're teaching the letter recognition and the letter sounds. So, focusing on M and N, I have posters here for each letter. And here I have M, and let me see if I can get, okay. And here I have N, and I'll just kind of show you. I put them in these plastic sleeves here. And just so I didn't have to laminate them and use more laminating pages. But so this one is M, and what I do is we do it like repetition first thing for the day. So I'll hold the poster up and we'll do it like this. M says in monkey. M says and then I will have the children repeat. M says in monkey. M says So we'll do that, and then we'll do the same thing for N, because these are the two we would be focusing on this week. And you can see I have some just dry erase on here that I need to erase. But anyway, so we would do N the same way. N says in nest. N says n. So you're teaching them the sound, and then you're also teaching them a picture clue to go with the sound, so that they always remember that picture clue whenever they're looking at that letter. Okay, another thing is each of these posters have the capital and the lowercase letters, so that you can reinforce that with the students as well. All right, so each unit, when you have the alphabet, or each week when you're working on your different alphabet letters, you get sound fluency pages that look like this. So here's the one for the letter N. And what I do is, there's a couple different ways you can do it. What I like to do is give them a dry erase marker or something that they can touch each box with as they do it. What they're gonna do is they're going to say the letter or the picture name and the sound. So for here, they're going to say, N says N. N says N. N says N in nest. N says N in newt. N says N. N says N in necklace. N says N. N says N in nest. N says N. If they do it correctly, they color in their first smiley face. They can do it 3 times for fluency, so they'll do it all again. If they do it correctly, they can color in their second one. If they do it all again correctly, they can color in their third one. And I use dry erase markers, and I have it in one of these little slip pockets. But you could, if you have a whole class or something, you can print out the black and white version and just have them use crayon and color them in and just use it once. Or you can send it home as well for practice at home. But yeah, so that's one way you can do it. Another way is you can provide the kids with some manipulatives. So here I have some counting bears, and then what the kids would do with the counting bears is they would just go ahead and put them on as they say it. So N says N. N says N. N says N in nest. N says N in newt. N says N. N says N in necklace. N says N. Whoop. Dropped it. N says N in nest. N says N. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's just adding another fun element to it. All right, so that page we would do, and then I have the same thing for M, so we would do that for M. Now, the reason we do that, guys, and I know I've talked about this in other videos, is that it helps with muscle memory. So when I was in college getting my master's degree, I did a lot of research, and I actually went to a couple conferences on how students learn, or how children learn, I should say. And in fact, it taught me a lot about how our brains work even as adults. And really, the repetition is where it's at, especially for children. If you're working with special needs kids, the repetition is what they need for sure. And so So doing practice pages like this, even though it may be boring and it's not as hands-on as some of my other activities that I'm going to show you, these are where it's at. Like this is where that memory is going to kick in, and they're going to remember it all the time. Especially, and even doing the poster, just doing the poster with them and doing the letter and sound fluency with them, that's where it's going to kick in. And if you guys have older students or like kindergarten age, I would really suggest looking into and I'm not trying to like throw a pitch here of my curriculum is awesome or something, but look into my Phonics for Reading program if you're really trying to teach reading, because I try to focus a lot of the repetition into that program as well. And it's a lot like this program, the preschool program, to be honest. And the first unit is on the alphabet, and it has a lot of fun things just like this as well in that program. But like I said, the repetition is awesome. So even if you're not using my curriculum, practice with your kids the repetition of the sounds, and I bet you will definitely see improvement. Okay, so some other things to show you that go along with, you know, practicing the sounds just in basic form. Here, I'll pull this one out. Although, okay, so some of these, I have these slipped into plastic pages, as I told you, and some of them have some dry erase marker on them that I have not erased, so just ignore that for me for just a second here. But I've shown these in other videos, I think, but one of the activities that the kids do is they do an upper and lowercase match. So on this page it shows them the uppercase M, and then they have to cover up all of the lowercase m's. So you can just give them any kind of manipulative you have, and then they go around and they cover up all of the lowercase m's. And I tried to make it a little bit more difficult because I threw in some W's and N's in there. Other letters that look like M but are not. So just to kind of make it a little trickier. All right. And then the other one is that they cover up upper and lowercase. So I'm just going to grab a different manipulative over here to use instead, just to kind of show you another example of something you can use. You could use buttons. And so the kids could go ahead and cover up all the capital and lowercase m's. And it can get tricky, especially for these preschoolers, because when they see an N, M's and N's do look quite a lot alike, and W's do as well, because they're just upside down M's, really. And so so it's really a lot of, so you can actually use these pages over and over again to get a lot of practice out of them. If you wanted to print out the black and white version, then you could just have them use crayons and color in the correct ones, and then take the pages home, like if you're a classroom teacher and you're not going to keep these pages forever. Something else I wanted to show you real quick is in the curriculum, I have just these little cards that come with the curriculum, and we like to use these in pocket charts. And this little pocket chart that I have here is from orientaltrading.com, I believe. And it's one of those foldable ones. You can fold it and then you can set it up on the desk, and it's like desktop. So what I do is I'll put them in the pocket chart, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll say M says in mouse, M says M says in monkey, M says capital M, lowercase m, or big M, small m, you could even say it that way, but I do like to teach them the words capital and lowercase. And we'll do the same thing with N. N says in necklace, N says N says in newt, N says and then I also have a nest on here for N. And we'll talk about capital and lowercase, and you get the idea. And then there's also two cards, one that looks like this and one that looks like this. And you can laminate them and use them for tracing or whatever you want to do. But yeah, we like to use these on the pocket chart. All right, built into this curriculum are fine motor activities. And so these are some of the fine motor mats that come in the curriculum. And this one is for the letter N. Here's the letter M. And then this one is another fine motor mat I'll get to in a minute. These ones you use snap cubes for building the letter. So here's my little bin of snap cubes right there. Again, just something I bought off of Amazon. Just search Amazon for snap cubes, and there's different companies that make them, and you'll see different ones come up. So what the kids do is they build the letter with their snap cubes, basically. So whoop. Now you can have them build it right there on the page, like so, and then that way they get the right size. I also like to do it off to the side, so I'll show you that. Here, this one's already done. Okay, so then I like to have them put it off to the side. Actually, I didn't need that one. All right, there. So there is the letter N, capital N, and you can talk about how that's capital N, and what sound does capital N make? I'm trying to get these to all stay together. N says N in nest. N says N, N, N. So snap cubes are great for fine motor because they have to use their little fingers to get, see these little knobs? They have to get them into the circles. And of course, then my kids like to play with them and make all sorts of other things out of them. But yeah, so they're fun. So there's one for N and M for that. And then for this one, you've probably seen in other videos, you can use any kind of manipulatives, and I like to provide the kids with some fine motor tools to do this. So let me show you that. Now you can use whatever small little manipulatives that might fit inside of these circles. Today I pulled out these little gems. I got these at the dollar store. You've probably seen them in my other videos if you watch my videos a lot. And for kids who just need the little finger practice with the pincher grasp, then go ahead and have them place them on the circles just like this. Again, you don't have to use these. These fit very well, but you can use any little small manipulative you have. Little toys, my little counting bears I showed you, little pom-poms with magnets, whatever you have. And then if you want to make it even trickier, you can lay out some of your manipulatives off to the side and have them use fine motor tools like I have here. And you may have seen these in other videos. I got these off Amazon too. I just searched for fine motor tools for kids, and this set came up. All right, so you want to, I'm going to show you how to use this one. They just kind of pinch it, and then they would pick up one and then place it on their mat and put it into the circle. So it makes it a little bit harder. They're using their fine motor. Now, the reason you want to practice fine motor with preschoolers is because it's a precursor to writing, obviously. So the better they get with their fingers and their hands, the better they'll get with writing their letters and numbers and all of that kind of stuff when you get to writing. So, all right, now this one also I like practices really honestly how to hold a pencil, because they have to be able to push, and so they've got some fingers up here and one down here, and they kind of have to be able to push it to open it. So I like this tool in particular, and actually this one does the same thing because they have to hold it on both sides. So all right, so that's how they would use this one. And then of course you would still talk about the letter sounds and the capital M, lowercase m, and the letter sounds as they're doing it. And they're seeing the letter, they're seeing the shape, so it's another way for their brain to remember what an M looks like, what does a capital M look like, what does lowercase m look like. So all of those great, wonderful things. And of course, N is in this week as well. All right, there are tracing pages that come with the fine motor activities, and I laminated mine. I put like the capital on one side and I put the lowercase on the other side, and I laminated them. You don't have to laminate them. You could put them in a plastic sleeve and use it that way, or you can just use the black and white version and have them use them once. But if you want to save them for later, either laminate them or put them in a plastic sleeve and then have them use a dry erase marker. And of course they want to follow the numbers, so the numbers show them where to trace. So 1 means they start here, 2, 3, and 4. So they're making their capital M the proper way. You get the idea. Same thing with lowercase m, 1, 2, 3. All right, so you've got that, and then you also have them tracing the picture, which I think is super cute. So M is for monkey, and then they would trace the monkey. You get the idea. And if you have different colored dry erase markers, then they can go ahead and color them too. And then they would do the same thing for nest, obviously. So, okay, and then there's also some tracing strips. So you can put these strips on a book ring if you want, so that they can flip through and just practice over and over again. And you could take them in the car with you that way, or whatever you want to do, and they could practice them over and over with dry erase, obviously. All right, these are the fill-in mats that you may have seen before, and you use pattern blocks with these. So I just have them do it right there on the mat, and they just take out the different pattern blocks and they make the letter just like this, as I'm doing here. So again, you can get these pattern blocks on Amazon, or these ones say learning resources on them, so maybe you could even go to that website and get them, but I know other companies make pattern blocks as well. And any company will make them the same size. I've never seen them a different size, so they should all fit and work on these mats. So yeah, that's another fine motor activity, but also practicing, again, the shape of the letter and what it looks like, and doing it for letter recognition, that kind of thing. All right, we are getting to the end here, although I do have 2 activity centers I want to show you, and oh, that goes with that. And so, but anyways, these are also memory practice strips. I've shown them how to use these in other videos, so if you don't know how to use these, there's directions in the curriculum, but also you can check out some of my other preschool videos on my channel, and I go through that. So I don't want to make this video super long and redundant. Okay, another thing we have, these are the ones for N. It also includes the ones for M. Sorry, can't see that really well. Are the Play-Doh mats. So these are the Play-Doh mats. And again, you're just going to use Play-Doh. They're going to roll it out into long strips. And they're going to make the letter. Now, the directions on here say use dough to build the letter. Then make the letter in a salt or sand box. And I know if you've been watching my videos, you've seen me show you how to make the letters in a salt or sand box before, but basically all you need to do is get some salt or sand, put it in a little, what I used to use is a little pencil box, but now I have these like tins that we use, and it's over here while I'm rolling this dough out. I'm trying to see if my tin, oh yeah, it's down here. I have these little tins, and I'll show you really quick what I mean by that. But, all right, so you get the idea of how they're going to take their dough, and they're going to go ahead and make the letter. I'm just going to throw this on here real quick so you can see. Okay, so they're going to make their letters right here. I laminated these so that the dough doesn't stick and they can use it over and over again. All right, so they're going to do that. And then to extend the activity a little further is I have these. Now mine's in a tin, but you can go ahead and just use a little pencil box or whatever you have. Mine's in this tin. It's a Star Wars tin because I have boys. So I can get this open. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I have 7 boys. And why can't I get, okay. There we go. Okay. And so everything around here is boyish. All right, here we go. Okay, so I just have the sand. I have green sand. It's like green play sand, but you could just use regular salt that you have at home too. You put it in your bin or your box, and then they're going to use any kind of whatever you have. I have a little pencil here. They're going to use pencil. They're going to use a marker, crayon, whatever, but they want to use the end that's not sharp, and they're going to go ahead and make the letter. So I'm going to make lowercase n, down, up, and down. So it just helps them feel the shape of the curves as they're moving it, and they can do it over and over again, and it just gets them used to it. So before they actually start writing it on paper, they're practicing it. And then of course you've already done it with the dough, so they've had plenty of practice making a lowercase n, and they're seeing it over and over again. So all right, that's just a way to extend the activity. You don't have to have one of these, but it is a lot of fun, although you got to be careful with spilling things like this because it's easily spilled. I just kind of wanted to mention really quick, this is not part of the curriculum, but in this little pencil box, I keep our number tracing cards here and our letter tracing cards in here. And then usually I have some dry erase markers in there. I don't see any, but I like to keep them all together. And then what we do is I can just grab this pouch and we can take it wherever we are in the car, or if we're at the doctor office or whatever, and then the kids can just trace their letters and their numbers while we're there. You can get these cards off my website. I'll leave a link below. These ones don't actually come with the curriculum, but you could do kind of the same thing with the cards that do come in the curriculum. That's just a side note. I had it sitting over here, so I thought I'd show you guys what I do. Okay, I am super excited to show you this activity. This is one of the activity centers that comes with this week's alphabet unit, or well, this week's alphabet, I don't know what I want to call it, alphabet activities. And again, this is the hands-on to learn preschool curriculum. All right, so this particular one comes with this mat that looks like this, and then it comes with these letter M's and N's. You see that? Now what I did is I cut them out. They come in these little circles, and I attached them to craft sticks. And all I did was I just put a little piece of tape, and that's how I attached it. And they seem, I mean, as long as you laminate them, they, you know, the kids really don't, I mean, they have to pull pretty hard to get it apart. So I haven't had any trouble with them getting them apart or anything. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to try to scoot this back because you're going to need a little bit more space to see. What the kids are going to do is they're going to look at the pictures on here. You need to provide them some Play-Doh. And then they're going to take some Play-Doh. Whoops. And I'm going to just take a little bit. I'm going to make a little ball of Play-Doh. And they're going to look at the first picture. First picture is nose, nose. So they have to come over here and pick an M or an N. What does nose start with? Does it start with or n? What's the sound for nose? Well, it's N. And so they're going to place their Play-Doh, and they're going to stick an N stick there, and it should stay. See? Isn't that fun? And then they're just going to go around the whole mat until they've covered them all up. Okay, mouse, mouse. Mouse is M. All right. So you get the idea, and they don't have to go in order. They can go all around if they want. So here's a newt. Newt. Newt is N, and they're just going to go until they've filled up their entire mat with these. Can you see them? I'm trying to make sure it's in the picture here. So I'm going to cover up this monster here. Monster is M. All right, you see that? And you see how they stand up like that? Isn't that kind of neat? I don't know if I can show you a little better with that. But yeah, so they just stick them in the Play-Doh. So not only are they using their fine motor to make the little dough balls, and they have to stick these in so that they kind of stay. And it's just kind of neat. It's kind of fun. Now, for kids who have trouble doing that, you could always put the sticks in the Play-Doh for them, and then just put them over here like this, so that they don't have to actually put them together. All right, so you'd have them already standing up off to the side, and then all they have to do is pick it up and put it where it goes. So M, and they have to look at the mat and find a picture that starts with M. I see map, and they would just put it there. N, where's a picture that starts with N? I see a nest, and so then they would just do it like that. N, nut. M, this one is a monster. Okay, so just like that. All right, so, or you can do like I was showing you before, is have them actually make the dough, put the dough on there. There's a number 9. Pick up the stick and put it in. But if that's going to be too much for your preschooler, especially if you have a really young one, then yeah, then give it to them already made like this with the stick and the dough on the bottom, and then they just have to place it on their mat like so. All right, friends, I have the last activity here that I'm going to show you for the letters M and N. This activity comes with these cards, and they just have, all the cards have a picture in the corner, and then a little square for the kids to put a magnetic letter and match it up. So what they do is they take a card. This is, let's see if I can get in there. Okay, this is a nut, and so they're going to go ahead and put an N in the box. Now I have capital N's and lowercase n's, and I'd probably have them use both of them just so that they can get an idea of what the different ones look like. This is macaroni, so they're going to use M. This is a map, M. And here's my box of magnet letters that I'm using right now. Show you those. So another way, if you don't have magnetic letters, you could also have the kids use, where did I go? There we go. Use a dry erase marker if you've laminated these, and then just write the letter on there, and then of course erase it. So, however, if you're working with really young ones, they may not be able to write the letter yet. That's the whole point here. So using the magnetic letters is what I would do. Or if you have a puzzle that has letters, you can use puzzle pieces. Anything you have that have the letters on them, you could go ahead and use that. But I like to use the magnetic letters. And also, if you added these, added a cookie sheet on the bottom and then did this, oh, you guys can't see, I'm like talking away. If you had a cookie sheet on the bottom and then added these to the cookie sheet with your magnets, then the magnets would stick. And usually they stick through the cards. So that's another fun way to do it. All right, so you get the idea. So here's a necklace, and then they would put an N on there for necklace. All right, guys, that is the end of the activities that I wanted to show you for week 6 of the Hands-On to Learn Preschool Curriculum. I will leave a link below to this curriculum. I always try to leave links below to anything you see in here that you can get from the Fun Hands-On Learning website. So I will leave that link below, and if you have any questions, leave those below as well, and we'll have to see you next time. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys.